Hello and welcome, fellow Nikon enthusiasts. It's a Friday and it's Coffee with Con. Every Friday we talk about everything Nikon related. Today we're going to talk about Nikon ZF. So I'm sure all of you heard about recently announced Nikon ZF in silver, which is not a new camera. It's obviously a different finish. Will look more or less similar to Nikon ZF that I have here, but I thought about it. The camera is Nikon ZF is about what, 2 years old now. So I think it's been released, I think, on 27th of October, if we can believe Google on that. It's been a while, but I think it sold really well, first of all, and for a lot of people, it became the camera that they use on a daily basis. So I think it would be an interesting live stream just to show some appreciation for Nikon ZF camera. Read your opinions about this camera. Is it a polarizing camera as Nikon ZF, or do you think they ticked a lot of boxes there? Do you like the newly announced Nikon Silver ZF? And what is your wish list for the Nikon ZF2? So all this we're going to discuss today. Thank you everyone for joining me today. Please let me know how's the audio and the video, because as usual I have no idea what I'm doing. So hopefully someone will let me know in the comments below. Coffee fund is open. I'm going to have a nice coffee with you together. Thank you very much, Jay Blue, who says happy ZF Silver Edition Friday to Con. Enjoy the coffee. That was beautiful. So thank you, Jay. I've run out of coffee actually yesterday, which was a funny thing. Normally I buy kilos, right? So because I have my coffee machine at home, I have a grinder, I dial in my coffee, you know, the whole nerd coffee stuff. But surprisingly, I've run out of coffee. And what I had to do is to go on Wednesday and try to find a coffee place, a good coffee place that sells coffee beans, you know, because a lot of coffee places, they're just cafes, you know, so they serve coffee, they don't sell coffee beans. So it took me a while, but within 20 minutes walk within the Greater Westminster area in Westminster district, I managed to find a kilo of coffee. So I bought a bag of this. Another kilo is coming, I think, today. So I'm going to be well caffeinated for the month of September. And I also have my coffee subscription, which is there as well. Hello, Roy, Paul P, John Rayleigh, Len Oshman, Jakob, Ian Moosen, Nick Han, Andres Senna, Kirill Grushko, Perry Lyson, Roland, Colin Bram as a chart, Andy Hater, Simon Ma, Rick Getty, Robert M, David Lutim Herring, Nick Harrison, Dave Thompson, Michael Reed, Michael Ladley, fantastic, David Moscoro, Alden Higher Angler, Terry Kantopoulos, Martin Hild, Measy. Thank you very much, everyone, for stopping by today. And actually, thank you very much for people coming to the shop today and saying hello as well. Measy came in a couple of weeks ago as well. It was good to see you. I see your names, but actually I don't know who you are when I meet you. So it's always nice to meet you in person and just shake everyone's hand. So thank you very much. And people say, why are you mentioning everyone's names? Because I appreciate you guys. So that's the reason for that. It's always good to see you. You are my online friends that we like kind of, talk about Nikon stuff. So we all Nikon enthusiasts, and it's always good to have you here. So let's start with your comments first. Let me know, first of all, Nikon ZF in silver. Do you like it? Is that the one, or the black one is still the king? Or do you like a more flavored version of Nikon ZF? So for example, here I have a matte gray, I guess, or something like this. In here we have a bunch more like orange and dark blue in the chart, in the second-hand department as well. Or do you prefer just a classic black one? Let me know in the comments below. For some of you who haven't seen Nikon ZF silver, just like me, I was told that it's going to look very similar to a Nikon ZF-C. The dials are going to be all silver, not black. And actually, one of the things what I don't like about new ZF-C is that the dials are kind of all silver. And if you look at the traditional FM2s, the silver editions ones, the dials are normally black. So if you want to kind of do a full homage to film cameras, I think that would be one way to do it. Let's have a look. How is the comments? Well, no one tells me that they can't hear me, so at least that's good news. So I've asked Nikon to send me one, ideally for next week. Now, next week I have an announcement to make. Next week the live stream won't be at 2:15. It will be at 4:45. Next Friday, the live stream, it's 4:45. So it's 2.5 hours later our usual time. The reason for that being is a good one, actually. So first of all, sorry, our Australian friends. I know it's going to be quite late, but the reason for that has been Becky is going to join me for the live stream. We're going to do a remote one, and we'll try to trial it for at least once to do a live stream together at a bit a later time than usual, but once a month at least. So Becky will be joining me next week at 4:45. So next Friday. So just keep that in mind. For our American users, it's going to be a little bit later in the day, still morning for a lot of people. But yeah, unfortunately for our Australian friends, you will have to probably see it well on demand later on. So in record, unless you want to stay very too late. But I personally recommend you to have a good sleep instead. You can always see us later, and it's only going to be hopefully once a month. So if it works, because obviously Becky has other commitments. Obviously she doesn't work for Grace Westminster anymore. So but it's always good to have her, and you can ask her any questions. So we'll try the first one, see how it goes. If it works, then we'll try to do it every month at least. Now, let's see your comments. I'm just going to start straight from the beginning. Before I start as well, Nikon has started an awesome sale on Nikon equipment in the UK. So there's significant discounts to be had on Nikon equipment. So if you were thinking to buy an equipment, now's a good time. So I think it's going to be awesome in a run-up for December. But yeah, if you thought to buy something and you thought it was a bit expensive, now you have it a little bit, well, it became a little bit cheaper. So that's what it is. So comments. Paul P says, ZF nearly like Bailey's OM1. Olympus OM1 for me it was one of my first actually SLRs that I had. I couldn't afford Nikon FM for some time. I had F100, but when I was post-student studying in London, all I could afford is Olympus OM1 with a flash and a 28mm Zuiko lens, and that all costed me about £35 on eBay. Flash never turned up, it was delivered somewhere else, but the Zuiko 28mm and OM1 turned up, and it's still in my house. I haven't used it for a while, but it's kind of worked for me for some time where F100 was a bit too big and too heavy. And then eventually I ended up with the Nikon FM, FM2 and FM3A. So, but yeah, I think if you look at Nikon ZF, I think it's a classic camera, isn't it? It's we call it classic. I mean, it's 2 years old, but I think what kind of speaking to a lot of people, from professional photographers to, let's say, keen enthusiasts and just hobbyists and things like this, I think kind of the united opinion about this is that the camera just, first of all, looks good, but also kind of encourages you to go and take some photographs. So let's say we wouldn't call it a professional camera, but I think Z6 III, Z8 or Z9 will do better in the professional department in terms of build quality and autofocus speed, you name it. But for a lot of people, that's the camera they would take with them on a walk, on holiday. They would choose different lenses, but try different lenses on it. This is the camera that a lot of people call a void-lender machine, where they use manual focus void-lender lenses, and that's something that we're going to discuss on the wish list and later on. And also because that mount is so adaptable for different systems, you can buy an adapter pretty much for 20 quid, from, let's say, screw mount to Leica mount to L mount, you name it. So you can pretty much put any lens system on it. You're switching from Sony, buy Sony mount to Z mount, and you still can get those focus on it. So that's how good the system is. So for a lot of people, it's kind of the machine where they can be a bit more creative from the point of view, try different lenses, see what they look like, etc., see what they like or not. So which is very, very cool. All right. Ian says, hello everyone, it was good to talk to you this morning. I do wonder which direction Nikon is going to go when they release 28mm lens. Well, we had this discussion actually this morning. And yeah, it's an interesting one. I agree with you, because for Ian, obviously Ian's got 28mm 1.4 lens, F mount, and that one came out very late in the date. 1.2 would be a good option. Will it be as big and heavy as 28 1.4? Probably it will be, because there's no compromise for Nikon. I personally hope that we're going to see 28 1.8, because it's weird. It's the only one that's omitted from the Nikon lineup, because you got 24 1.8 and you got 35 1.8 and 50 1.8, etc., 85. I personally think that we will go with 28 1.2 to start with. Obviously, we've got a 28 millimeter 2.8, which is cheap and cheerful plastic mount lens. For some of you who don't mind to use manual focus lenses, then Voigtlander 28 1.5 lens is absolutely amazing lens. It doesn't get enough recognition. I think if you're a street photographer, that is the setup you want to go for with the Nikon. If you don't want to go, let's say, a rangefinder route, etc. So, but yes, I think Nikon is due to needs to release a 28 mm. I think it's worth having. But Ian says, will Nikon release 28 1.4 with a recent 1.4 lens, or 1.2? If it's a 1.2, not sure which will be weight, the price. But also, since we know that 51 and 35 1.4 are a bit more character than, let's say, 1.8 versions, would that be the right answer? That's the thing. So for people who are going for the superb sharpness. Roland says, just seen your Nikon FM2T, Year of the Dog 1994. I want it. Well, Roland, you can give us a call and we ship to United States. I think you're in California, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely, we can do that. Speaking of which, actually, there's a whole thing, Royal Mail, which is our postal service, sent out an email that shipping to United States, I think from 1st of the 30th of August, this whole $800 thing where you didn't have to pay taxes on it. I'm not 100% sure what I'm saying, but this levy was now removed, so it's a little bit more expensive now to ship to United States. Well, in terms of customs duties and things, I guess for customers more than for us. But just keep that in mind. Hello, Andy. He says hello from Mechanicsburg, USA. Sunny today, rain tomorrow. Shooting monocross on Sunday. Fantastic. It is surprisingly sunny in London. It's been raining for a whole week, so it's been was going back to normal. So it's always nice to have a bit of sun and just enjoy it a little bit. Good morning, Simon from Canada, Toronto. He says, another amazing Nikon release with the silver ZF. Love my classic all black Nikon ZF and don't plan to switch, but tempting. I agree with you. It's lovely for a lot of people who kind of called us yesterday on the day of announcement. Obviously, Nikon is charging recommend retail price for the silver ZF, and ZF in black is currently on discount in UK. So for a lot of people, they say, I want a silver one, but I want to pay the price what black Nikon ZF is now. So that's one of those things on people's wish list. I would personally say wait and see. The good thing is, actually, is that silver ZF is available to all retailers, not just exclusive to Nikon store. Because back in the day, Nikon released the black ZFC and said, well, you can't sell it. It's only, you can buy it directly from Nikon UK, and Nikon, so I think it states it was exclusive, and then I think B&H allowed to stock it. But it was an interesting decision. So I'm glad that they've decided to allow us to sell, every dealer in the United Kingdom to sell silver ZFs, which is a good thing. But again, interesting decision. We always look at those little kind of things, what happened. Now, another interesting note that I've made, and, that's the kind of the NDA stuff that normally dealers get, they normally get about a week in advance. What we see is the non-disclosure stuff has been announced to the dealers, and about a day or two later, this stuff shows up on Nikon Rumors, where you all can see that. This time, the dealers were informed very late in the game, and that's why Nikon Rumors only reported the announcements, saying, it came out of the blue. So what it tells me that there is a leak. So a lot of that stuff that's been shared with Nikon Rumors comes from the dealers. So keep that in mind. Again, different different thoughts on different things here that I'm sharing with you. Let's look at more of your comments here. I am quite early in the chat, so I'll try to scroll down real quick. So we've got everyone is saying hello, which is fantastic. Here we are. So let's see. So Glohan is from Kansas City, where the smoke drifting south from Canadian wildfires gives us smoky skies, but for air quality, but making for beautiful diffused light and color sunsets. Fantastic. It made me think about a grain feature that Nikon announced for their Nikon ZF, and that feature will be implemented within this year, they said. So you can now try to make your digital files look like film. Again, you know my opinion about this. If you want to shoot film. But I guess it's an inexpensive way for everyone to feel like they're shooting film. If you have the camera, obviously, it's an expensive way to make a film shooting film. If you have to buy a brand new Nikon ZF to have that feature, you can buy FM2 a lot cheaper than that, and loads of film for the same money as well. But it's an interesting that a lot of camera manufacturers really trying to get back to that nostalgia feel, isn't it? So there's something in there. So they do listen to that. Jakob will rewatch stream later. I'm taking my black ZF and 35-1.8 on the bike with me. We'll have fun, Jakob. I'm going to be visiting Slovakia in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going to see my family in there. Probably won't see you there, but if someone is passing on the bike, I assume it's you, but I will look for Nikon Z camera. Okay, so let's see. Scroll down a little bit. Paul Hallam says, Nikon ZF Silver, about time. Yeah, it took them 2 years. David Luke has a question related to Nikon ZF for me. He said, did you post Phoenix 2 medium format on IG? No, David, I didn't. I didn't shoot the 120 Phoenix 2. Unfortunately, I've been busy developing film in our lab. The lab is getting busier and busier by the day. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of time for my photography now, developing other people's film, but we enjoy this. We love what's happening to the lab. So, that's the thing. Hopefully I'll have more time, but at the moment I'm between the two projects, if you see what I mean. So hopefully soon I'll have a bit more time to shoot it. But I saw some results, I can tell you that, from Phoenix 2 on medium format from my clients. And it looks very good. It's definitely less grain than on 35mm. Still, from the lab perspective, this type of film is not designed for labs because what we call professional lab scanners that are designed for speed, they designed for traditional emulsion. So the way the color correction is happening for something like Golden Ultra Max is kind of caked in and built in into those scanners. Obviously, like Aerocolor 4 or Phoenix emulsion is slightly different. So as soon as it kind of goes off that straight parts, and those kind of start to get a bit iffy. So color balancing those films become a little bit more difficult than compare, let's say, if you're shooting them on something like, let's say, SLR scanning rig. So, so that's an issue one. So what we do normally, we create a profile for the specific film, and then we just scan it this way. But it's a good film. You should try, definitely. You should shoot a roll. Well done. I'm glad that Harman is doing the thing. This new color film is being tested now. I'm sure you saw it on YouTube. It's called Lucky 200. From what I hear, Lucky 200 will be available within next month or so. So the first batch went straight to China. Second batch is still being fine-tuned. So the UK is on the third batch. So that's the update I had recently. So I will be personally stocking that film as well. All right, going back to Nikon ZF, J Blue says, I had black Nikon ZF, but sold it. I prefer classic Giorgetto Giugiaro design for most of my film cameras. Well, J Blue, you can buy a third-party grip. I think it's not a small rig, it's someone else. I think it's a Neewer or something like this. That will add a red line next to it. I saw a couple of those that people do like that style as well. I feel you. Everyone is different, but yeah, you can customize it if you want to. I do like my ZF without any grips personally, but the small rig is there. To be honest with you, actually, the one that I use now is the Japanese ZF grip that I have, which is a bit more minimalistic. I like that one, but I still don't like that that's a little bit of thickness at the bottom. So I do like my cameras a bit more small and discreet. So, but obviously finger cramp is there. All right, Tim, thank you very much for Coffee Fund. He says Cup for Con. I appreciate that. That's very nice. Thank you very much. Gary Morrison says, good afternoon, everybody. Kirill Grushko, thank you very much. He says, there are many pros, but there's only one con. That's right, spelled with K. Absolutely. I admire the ZF. Black would be my favorite, but as addition to my Z8, I prefer to wait for ZFC 2. Interesting sake, when do you think ZFC is due, the Mark II version? What can they do? My concern about the whole Nikon DX system is I feel like that, you know, system is up to date with Z5 II. I don't think if ZFC 2 comes out, it's going to add, a lot over the current version. So my take on this is I really feel like we need to have a vibration reduction on the sensor for DX cameras. Now, that tells me if that happens, it has to come for expensive camera first, and then it will go down to cheaper cameras. So my logic goes to Z500 or Z90 or whatever you call it, so G500 replacement should come out first, the size of Z8 with the vibration reduction on the sensor, so a bit more expensive for sports and wildlife and all that. And then that should trickle down into Z52, ZFC2, Z32, all those cameras. This is my take on it. I could be wrong on this one, but if ZFC comes out with a built-in vibration reduction on the sensor, it sounds like it's going to be a little bit more expensive. That's my take on this. Let's go to, I'm going to scroll up the chat a little bit. Let's see, there was a question there. Paul Hallam says, will the colored ZF version be available for pre-order through Grays? Unfortunately not. The silver, different color skin versions will be available only from Nikon store in the UK. We're only allowed to sell a vanilla Nikon ZF, so which would be similar to the ZFC, so silver body, silver dials, and a black leather red. That's what we would be allowed to sell. Craig C says, an easy addition, holding out hope for firmware update. Please add cycle autofocus mode for Nikon ZF, especially having a few function custom buttons. Good suggestion. Hopefully Nikon listens to us. Martin says, my ZF is blue. It is my first Nikon, and I have discovered the joy of vintage glass and manual photography. It is the most fun camera I have ever used. That's exactly what it is for me. You all know, who watched me for a while, that I had a Fujifilm X Pro 1 system when it first came out. It wasn't even released in UK yet. I bought it in Japan. I was in Tokyo at the time when it came out, and I think in March, and the system was released like in May or something here. And I bought 18, 35, and 60mm lenses to go with it. And what I loved about this camera, it was slow and sluggish, but what I loved about this, it was beautifully built, beautifully made. It kind of encouraged me to go out and do some photography. And I think that's what Nikon ZF for me does more than anything else. I think DF was getting there, but there were a lot of little kind of things that, were a little bit, let's say, they would complicate things. And that's why Nikon ZF is considered to be a bit of a Marmite camera, as we say. So ZF kind of fixed a lot of those things, and especially with the firmware update. If you've got Nikon ZF and you haven't updated your firmware, please do this, because they fixed this auto ISO thingy. Finally. So the way I use my camera is actually, if I set it to C, it switches to automatic ISO, and then I can use manual ISO if I want to, just by turning the dial. This is the way I prefer to use my lenses. So my cameras, and I really like the way that Nikon does it. So it does make you feel a little bit more like using an analog camera because of the dials. Again, if you want to shoot fast, there are better cameras for this. But for me, as we say, it's a fun camera. I have a Leica adapter, and I have a lot of Voigtlander for Leica mounts, so the Voigtlander called VM mounts, and they go on my camera. So I have a couple of, I got 28 Ultron, I got 35 Ultron, I got 52.2, which are small, tiny lenses. The adapter is small. It's perfect, and the good thing about this particular camera is it's got a fantastic zoom-in feature, and it's got eye recognition as well that you can use. So it's always useful to have this. The Voigtlander 28 1.5 is fantastic. We need to film a review on this. We haven't had time, but we need to film a review on this. The 40mm 1.2 lens from Voigtlander, you know me, I love this particular lens, full of character, oozing with character, and becomes a more or less kind of more modern lens from 5.6 stop down to, let's say, f22, but wide open, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lens. If you like a bit of imperfection in your stills, then that would be the lens to choose. Definitely 28 and 40 probably are the most best-selling lenses, Voigtlander lenses for Nikon Z mount, and 35 and 50 apples are basically right after them. So that's what it is. David Luke has a wish list for Nikon ZF2. He says mini removable grip a la FA, FG. Interesting take. Could be, yeah, could work. Christopher says, I think they should have added the grip built on this update. I don't know. I do like that. I mean, again, I think grip is important if you use longer lenses, but if you use it the way I use it, I use prime lenses. Specifically, they're not big and heavy. So for me, it's absolutely fine. If you're using 28 or 40mm, you should be absolutely fine. But the minimalist Japanese, official Japanese grip for Nikon ZF, that's what I have. I think I showed it to you on the previous streams. I should have brought it with me and showed it to you again. But it doesn't have too much bulk compared to the small rig grip, because for me, this is a bit too much bulk. It's more comfortable. It's more convenient. I agree. There's no doubt about this. But if you like style over function, then get the minimalist grip. So that's the thing. Here we go. Let's look at more of your comments here. Roy Bixby says, I love an old brother. They have to be different. Well, that's kind of my beef with everything. As I say, I haven't seen silver ZF, but if it looks like ZFC, then I would say it's probably not going to be my choice. I mean, I do like a black ZF, but I personally think that Nikon should release, and I said this on a live stream before, I think we should have all brass version. I think we should have limited edition versions that would cost more premium. Wouldn't go still to Leica territory, but still would be a little bit more. But do it all brass, all metal body, you know, without all the plastic shenanigans. You know, for me, that would be definitely a choice. There's a reason people love those cameras, you know, and they don't need to be sold in high multiples. But again, I think Nikon is in that position where they try to sell products for mass market. And obviously Nikon ZF is kind of mass market. If you see their marketing now, and Nikon marketing features a lot of young people, so it seems like that it is a target audience, and it seems like it's working, you know. Okay. Moshi David, he says, looks like I may finally join the Z system with the silver Nikon ZF. Well, welcome to the family, David. And you can put a lot of your manual focus lenses or even AFD lenses on that camera via FTZ adapter. Yes, it doesn't look amazingly well. It looks a little bit big, but it's usable. It's usable. Again, 51.4D, fantastic lens. I love it. All right, let's see more of your comments here. Peter Johnson says, will Nikon bring out some lenses with aperture ring or not? What do you think? Well, I think aperture ring became a function ring. So the way, like if you look even at the 2470 Mark II version, then they have basically the ring at the back of the lens, which can be clicked or clickless as well. So you got a little switch, and you can assign to all sorts of things from aperture change to other things. So I think that's the way Nikon thinks, but the system because I think Voigtlander got it really, really right with their design. You know, it's kind of, I think I'm buffering. Am I buffering? I am buffering. Okay, well, that's no bueno, isn't it? Am I back? Lost sound a bit. Okay, I think I'm back. I think you can see me because I'm moving on my little screen here. All right, so I'm back now. What I was saying is I think we need more small compact primes from Nikon that look the part. We don't need super wide aperture. Give us like 2.8 f2. It's absolutely fine. 1.8 versions. But I think there's a reason why a lot of people use Nikon ZF as a Voigtlander lens system, because I think Voigtlander really nailed it with the design of the lens and just overall functionality and just tactile feel. So that's what I'm thinking about this. So, you know, I think Nikon really should look into this. Look, you know, I do love the 50-1.2 and 85-1.2 and 35-1.2. It's not the camera designed for this type of lenses. I think Nikon really nailed it with the 40 and 28 mm. So we need to get something more like this. I think Nikon ZF, it's its own market segment, it's its own category, if you see what I mean. So Nikon should address it. And I think the popularity of the system says a lot about it. Those are really pesky roadworks. Like for people who came and visited us today, you saw the state of the road. It's literally like the whole block is in trenches right now. So that's what it is. And every now and then, I think they drill into the internet cable, and that's what happens. Chris says, Con, do you think Nikon should bring out the coffee colored ZF? Well, they have a Scheisse brown, isn't it? So I'm call me old fashioned. I do like just the black body with a black leatherette, so yeah. And I drink coffee black as well, so no sugar, no milk. But there's different colors. Becky's got this kind of a navy dark blue. It's okay. I wouldn't buy it myself, but that's the thing. Everyone's different, and if everyone's personality is reflected in the way their cameras look, then the world is better for it, isn't it? All right, so Con XY is asking, any ideas as to why the official Nikon ZF GR1 from Japan is still not available in the West? Thank you. I'm not sure. To be honest with you, it's a difficult one to say. I asked Nikon. I guess it's a limited production. That's my thinking. I guess it's manufactured not by Nikon, but someone else. That's my thinking. Probably I've imported mine. Samuel Street Life is in the chat. Hello, Samuel. Good to see you. Did you just hear Scheisse Brown? Yes. From my German lessons that I had at school, I've learned two things. The capital, yeah, die Bundesrepublik, something like this. Besteht auf 16 Bundesländer. Okay, my German is bad, but basically what I said is Germany consists of 16 different places, regions. Anyway, Scheisse Brown, it stayed with me forever, and that particular color, some people love, some people don't. I know that Samuel has stone gray Nikon ZF, which I have here. So that's what he has, and it looks good. It looks good. I like it. He says silver ZF is cool, but black ZF looks better. I agree with you on that. And yeah, Scheisse Brown is the joke that's been with this channel for about 5 years or so. It's since our podcast day. So if you haven't seen that before and you think, why Con is saying this all the time, this is the reason for that. So but yeah, Voigtlander lenses with Nikon ZF is my personal choice. I do love that. I do like that we can now quickly zoom in on the eye to see if it's sharp or not. So for a lot of people, it's actually quite cool because if you look at, let's say, Fuji X Pro system, right? You can adapt manual focus lenses on it, but because you got hybrid optical EVS or VF, it's not as straightforward. It's not as easy to focus manually with manual focus lenses. So on that camera, so for me, I think ZF is probably the first camera that's done it perfectly well. And the auto ISO fix for that, just using the auto ISO and the manual ISO, I think it's the best. All right, Colin is in chat. Hello, Colin. Good to see you. Alan Murray says, I always love titanium editions with primes, how the camera feels in the hand. The Stops FM2T is fabulous. I agree with you. And that's why I think that Nikon should really go into limited edition territory. Look, Nikon limited editions, they're not going to cost the same as Leica limited editions, let's be honest. So, that's my thinking about it. But yes, full brass Nikon ZF would be absolutely amazing. What I didn't like as well is we got the top is brass, right, and dials and all this, but the bottom is not. So those kind of little things that people will pay a premium for. Obviously, it's not going to be a mass product, but I think Nikon should try and test the waters. And hopefully, if Nikon tested the waters with ZF and ZFC cameras, we will see more cameras that line up. That's as I say, I think for a lot of people, professionals or hobbyists of the world, this is the fun camera. That's the thing. And a lot of people say, if you can afford 2 cameras, that would be perfect. Let's say if you're a professional photographer, you probably have Z8 or Z9. I use Z8 for commercial work, but this is fun camera for me. And we film videos on it as well. You don't think about it as a video camera, but all our, poorly made videos are filmed on that camera, basically. That's what it is. Gary Morris says, my Linhof Technica 4x5 is that shade of green. Oh, that Linhof camera. Amazing. I need to take my 4x5 camera out. It's been a summer and I haven't done it, but I should be doing this. Samuel agrees. He says titanium ZF would be absolutely awesome. So let's see. More comments in the chat. Daywalk says, trying to speak German here in Berlin, but they keep responding in English. Berlin is amazing for that. That's the thing. I love it. You go there and everyone speaks English to you. For me, Berlin is, coffee scene in Berlin is absolutely amazing. For photography, Photo Olympics obviously is the place for film photography. I work with them. We import Adex film from them, but Berlin is the place to go. If you love clubbing, that's another story. But definitely a go-to destination. So Samuel, I need to come and see you as well. I know you're not in Berlin, but definitely we should do something together. And if you're in London and you want to shoot Nikon and not your GR system, then we should meet up. Definitely do something. Colin Murphy says full brass with Petzval lens on it would look cool. Yeah, stick some lomography gold Petzval lens on it. I saw actually this setup a couple months ago. A customer came in. That was absolutely amazing. I mean, that Petzval lens is crazy. It's just a big chunk of glass as well. Obviously, lots of character there as well. Kirill says, Con, you may have just swayed me to get a ZF a second camera instead of waiting for ZFC2. I'm a full frame guy, so for me, ZFC is not not a contender but it's just ZF for me. I know ZFC is a fantastic camera and a lot of people love it, but for me, ZF is the one to get. Definitely, it's just you go full frame. It's very difficult to switch back to to DX sensor. Again, just me being very biased. That's it's just a random opinion on the internet. That's all it is. Nothing more than that. David Lewis says, please no for gold-plated snake skin version. Gold-plated like Nikon FA, the gold-plated one. Yeah, with a... I think we just need to get full brass version. You see what I mean? The paint is kind of piano black on the black Nikon ZF. I know it's not like a piano black, but, it's pretty good in my opinion. I think it's I love it. It's pretty good. So if you get a piano black limited edition, 1,000 pieces, full on brass, probably gonna weigh over a kilo. I don't know, but that would be quite cool. Another thing, I feel from aesthetics point of view, I don't like this. It's fine. It's functional. I like that you can cover this all this way, but I feel like there should be a bit more elegant solution in terms of design and visual aspects of it. So that's kind of thing where I feel like Nikon can improve on this, but I like this bit. I just don't like how it looks. Especially like if you look at the different leatherette ones, this is a bit distracting to me. So that's the thing. Again, minor peeves with it, but if you're talking about ZF2, so ZF2, I think a couple of things. As I say, for me, we need to have more lenses, native Nikon lenses designed by Nikon that are small, compact primes. I think it's its own category. Like for me, they don't need to be cheap and cheerful. They can be a little bit more expensive with a better build, but I feel like that needs to happen. And yes, improvement on build quality, like full on metal and things like this. That's where, from like as a personal thing, I don't need high frame rate. I don't need super fast autofocus. I think autofocus on this thing is pretty good, and it's definitely like for street. I've done for street photography. Normally, when I do street, I shoot with manual focus lens, and then we just use hyperfocal distance to set up on 28mm, wide open at f8, 500 of a second. You're gonna get a good shot regardless. So, but if you're going to use it, let's say with 40mm or 28mm or 2.8, like with 28, 2.8, autofocus works good enough to take a quick shot, so it's pretty good. We can get fast autofocus, but for me, as I say, it's the build quality and more Nikon lenses. I think that's kind of my main things. Obviously, 45 megapixels, yes, definitely. If you can get more megapixels, that's good. If you can print larger, if you can crop more, it's always useful. Those things are kind of good, especially, for people, let's say, starting with 28mm lenses, doing street life, and then they take in a lot of shots and the subject's quite far away. And that's because later on they realize they need to get a lot close to the subject, but then it becomes an issue where, well, how confident I am doing street photography and getting really close to the subject. That's another story, if you see what I mean. So, but having that crop option, cropping from 45 and printing definitely feels a lot nicer than, let's say, cropping 24 megapixels and then printing. You know what I mean? So definitely, yeah, resolution is good, but again, it's not camera for sports and wildlife. Doesn't mean you can't shoot sports and wildlife with it, but I think the target audience for that is the people who shoot this primarily, they will buy a different camera, if you see what I mean. Roy says, Nikon used to brass painted or chromed. I don't know why they just didn't leave them naked. Well, I think they want you to kind of naturally, those cameras get some patina and you brass them, I think we ought to have a Lenny Kravitz edition of Nikon camera, just like Leica did, so just get a new camera. Well, be like... Richie, open your new camera, get a sandpaper and dial, and brass those dials to the best possible. But I do want those bits to be brass as well. So that's what I want. Gustavo says, so colors and styles are good marketing tools to keep sales up, but I want hints that new Gen 4 cameras are coming, hopefully before the end of the year. Well, Gustavo, I mean, we all want everything now, right? So we want a Gen 5, so Gen 4 comes out, well, I want Gen 5, because it's not good enough. What the trend we're starting to see, as I say, we are in this run-up before Christmas. So it seems like that we are getting an announcement. And if you look at the last year as well, we were getting announcements almost pretty much every week. So last week, we had 24 to 70 Mark II. Now we have the silver version. I know it's not an amazing announcement. It's not like groundbreaking, but it's still an announcement. There is a rumor that Nikon will announce a video camera next week. That's according to a lot of cinematographers forums, which of course, me being a keen young cinematographer, I'm there. But there's a rumor that Canon announced a video-centric camera and Nikon will announce video-centric camera next week. I don't know if Nikon Rumors published anything on this, but that's what a lot of people think is going to happen. So we are in that kind of time where Nikon will announce new things for, in a run-up for Christmas. So, and I think if you look at the Gen 4 cameras, as you say, so my colleague Steve, who you saw on the last week's live stream, he thinks that we're going to see a development announcement of Z9 Mark II around Christmas time. So that means that they just stating that we are developing this camera, and then in 3-4 months we'll start to see. So that particular thing, we'll see what happens. So who knows? What do you think they should do? But I think in a run-up for that, we're going to discuss all this. All right, let's see more of your comments in the chat. Yeah, yeah, definitely, Samuel. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, definitely. All right. David Lewis says, Bill Gray include an engraved Nikon but hot shoe cover during Christmas. I think we are getting more of those hot shoe covers. Robert, yeah, I agree. It's a runner for Christmas. That's it, guys. It's September. It's a runner for Christmas. It's just the way the world works, isn't it? So those 3-4 months are going to go really, really fast. Hopefully with a lot of excitement news from Nikon, and hopefully we will be there, you know, to do things together. So what I can tell you that, yeah, hopefully we'll be getting 24-70 lens for the review soon. So at least we're on the list with Nikon on this one. And I also, yeah, we put ourselves on the list for the ZF. So my hope is that we're going to get them, the silver ZF for next live stream, but it depends if Nikon actually will get some demo units to send out. So we'll see how it goes. Andy is asking for iCap for Nikon Z850. So there was a brand that used to make iCaps for those. It will come back to me, but there was one, and they're normally quite long ones as well. So you can do those. I forgot the name, but yeah, I wanna check with you. Let's have a poll a little bit. So let's start a poll and see. So which ZF is the best, black or silver? Let's see your opinion on this. We're just gonna start the poll here. Here we go. Tell me, if you have to buy one, if you're gonna own one, is it gonna be a black or is it gonna be silver? I have a feeling black is gonna win, but who knows? Who knows? Yeah, Hoodman. Yeah, John says, yeah, Hoodman, Andy, Hoodman iCaps are definitely the ones to get for any Nikon system. They're pretty good, and they tend to stay on the camera for for much longer. J Blue says, I have 3 special Nikon hot shoes which Gray sold earlier this year. They're all sold out now. We are expecting for more to arrive. I think that, we ordered some more for them. Well, it's not as a big a split between black and silver as I thought. I thought black is going to be like way over 80%, but but that's just because I like black ZF over silver one. I mean, I haven't seen one in the flesh. Who knows? Maybe silver is the one. Well, Greg Lohan doesn't like ZF. He says, I just didn't bond with it the same way as I did with my Z7, but it did encourage me to finally buy Nikon ZF, which I love as a companion for my D700 Z5 Mark II. That's an interesting take as well. As you say, we're all different, absolutely. And if you look at, let's say, if you come in from digital Nikon cameras, I think, definitely Z5, Z6, Z7, Z8, Z9, they all kind of come with the same design. So overall, if you use the Nikon cameras before, then it will be an easy jump. Obviously, for camera like ZF, especially people coming, let's say, who never used old traditional film cameras, this is quite a challenge because obviously, you obviously can set it up to auto ISO, auto shutter speed, auto aperture, you name it, exposure compensation, etc., the way you want it. But it looks a bit overwhelming when you first get your camera in hand. And, it requires a little bit of adjustment, let's say this, for people who are new to this type of interface. So for people who use this type of interface and love it, they'll enjoy it. That's the thing. So it's not as easy and straightforward camera than compared to, let's say, more kind of more modern design. Roy says, I hate those micro SDs. I agree with you on this one, absolutely. Again, we've got an SD card and micro SD, so we got 2 slots here. I understand that this solution is not perfect, but shall we say, would you prefer 1 card slot over 2 card slots. I personally would prefer 2 card slots, even if a second one is micro SD. I can tell you that on mine, I think I have either 512 gig or 1 terabyte micro SD there, and it works as a backup. And to be honest with you, I've never taken it out of my camera. It just sits there permanently because the first card is big enough, SD, and generally, I copy my images between the shoots. So micro SD is there just for protection reasons, more than anything else. So that's, that's what it is. But yeah. If you think which one is better, I don't know. Would we get, are we able to now squeeze 2 SD cards? Probably. The moment we get this, someone is going to say, well, why it's not a CF Express, and then so yes, we can keep upgrading, but I don't think it's the camera designed for this. All right, so black Nikon ZF looks like is the one for a lot of people. So we got 69-30 splits. I don't know where this extra 1% which is missing, but it seems like this 1% is still undecided. Jay Blue says, other than Becky, who we love, will there be any other special guests on the live stream in the coming month? We always play it by ear, Jay, because, like on my day-to-day stuff, I deal with the day-to-day Grays of Westminster operation. So the YouTube side of things, unfortunately, takes not as much of my time as everything else. So that's the thing. Realistically speaking, for us to run this channel full-time, we need to be on a channel full-time. It is impossible. That's the thing. There's a lot of things we can improve on this channel, from, let's say, the graphics on the live streams and things like this. The problem is it requires full-time people being on this, let's say. I'm not a full-time YouTube person. As I say, this takes about maybe 10-15% of what I do for Grays of Westminster. And that's why finding guests and things like this, organizing those things, take a lot of time. So that's the thing, Jay. We try for sure. But I can't, I don't know. That's the thing. I have a couple of ideas. We definitely, I know of 2 guests, or technically 3 guests, that hopefully, let's say, hopefully will appear on the channel in the coming months. But again, that hasn't been confirmed yet. But we can try. We can definitely try. But as I say, unfortunately, it's just, YouTube is a very little, what I do for Grays of Westminster. If I would be full-time here, yes, it's, we would get balloons and clowns and, cupcakes for everyone. David Lewis says, imagine losing a 2 terabyte micro SD. Well, David, we've got 2 memory cards there. One standard SD and one is micro SD. So if you're going to have 2 terabyte SD and 1 micro SD, if one gets lost and you use it as a backup, then you still have a second memory card, either SD or micro SD, to save you from that. So I guess that, when we talk about 2 slots, we always talk about from the position of the backup. Not because one overfilms and goes to the second one. That's what a lot of people say. So regardless if it's a micro SD or SD card, whatever, make it 20 terabyte. As long as both cards are the same and one is backing up another one, you will have, basically, you're not going to lose the images. But I remember the days, and they just told me how old I am, where people say 120, not even 64, no, not even that. I remember 2 terabytes, 2 terabytes, yes, memory cards. Oh, 16 terabyte gigabytes, pardon me, 16 gigabyte memory cards on, or 8 gigabyte on my D700. It's too much if I lose it. It's just the way technology works, if you see what I mean. They're going to get bigger and they're going to get more improved. And let's say, even like SD cards, I remember the early days, they were failing quite a bit. I remember the days where you say you just have to buy a SanDisk card, don't buy anything else. Lexi and SanDisk. Now we got a lot more brands, a lot less fake ones as well. So, around. It's just technology. As long as we have 2 card slots, I think I'm happy from that point of view. Greg says, I grew up with FE, FE2, FM, FM2, F3 HP, so I was not intimidated by the former controls, but for some reason, the quirks of the DF appealed to me more. I would buy a brass or titanium ZF though. So Nikon, we need to have a brass or titanium ZF, that's for sure. Why not put internal SSD in the cameras like X2D? So John, my concern about internal SSDs What happens when this internal SSD fails on you? What happens then? So having memory cards, I think, is a good idea on a personal level. Obviously, Hasselblad and Leica are kind of are championing this particular trend in digital photography, where we have built-in storage. You drop your camera, you drop your very expensive X2D on the floor, and you not just only break the camera, your internal SSD fails. What happens then? At that point, me, paranoid me, will be very grateful having SD cards, and hopefully they haven't failed during the drop. But I haven't seen the X2D Mark II. I've seen X2D. One of my clients who I teach photography has one, and obviously beautiful camera, beautiful images coming out of this camera, fantastic. But yeah, I'm a bit paranoid. I like my memory cards. But yeah. Let's see more of your comments. So we're going to wrap up now. So Andy says, do not use second card for backup. Use it for overflow. And when reviewing the images, make a copy of those you need on the second card. Again, Andy, some of you will agree. I disagree with this because, again, you look at the comment when we had a camera with one memory card, and you look at the forum comments where say, oh, the second card is important as a backup. You see what I mean? And then making copy takes your time. Sometimes you just want to have a shoot and you want to have a built-in backup, but it is an interesting take. I still stick to backup, so that's the thing. I mean, on something like SD, or, Nikon ZF, as I say, I have two big memory cards in there. One is primary card. It's always been copied once I get home, all the images, and the second one always works as a backup. So, but we all different photographers and we use them for different things. So whatever works for you, absolutely stick to that, because at the end of the day, you are the one who's going to be using that. The drunk wedding photographer there says, what's a dual card slot? It comes from the person who shoots film. There's no second film slot on our film cameras. But we're going to wrap up. We're going to see you next week at 4:45 on Friday. So it's not 2:15, it's 4:45, yeah, 4:45. And it's going to be with Becky and me. We are looking forward to welcome you, and hopefully, yeah. Sorry, our Australian friends. Hopefully, you'll see us the recorded version. But everyone else, come join us. We'll be happy to see you. All the best. Bye bye.